I'm here because a friend nominated me, unbeknownst to me. I've been working in fundraising for breast cancer since 2001, really, when my then 25-year-old sister, Heather, was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was an aggressive form of breast cancer, and we formed a race in Washington, D.C., or formed a team in a race for in Washington, D.C. for her in 2001, and she came back in 2002. And she passed away late in 2002. And since then, it's been a passion of mine to not only raise awareness of breast cancer in young women, but also to raise funds for underprivileged women who might not otherwise be able to afford the screenings and treatment that they get with the funding. Today, we've raised over $540,000. And every year I think maybe this is my last, and I get re-energized all over again. This is very personal. Obviously, my mother was is a breast cancer survivor. She was diagnosed 5 or 6 years before Heather was diagnosed, and obviously through our experiences with Heather and our fundraising. But 3 years ago, my other remaining sister, Renee, decided to get tested for the BRCA gene, and she was tested positive for BRCA1, and it was recommended that I get tested, and I was tested positive. And so just when I didn't think that breast cancer could hit any more closer to home, or my work in the field hit any closer to home, it did. And so it becomes very, very personal, even more personal for me. It was the only way that I could wrap my hands around the neck of breast cancer and do something about it. I couldn't do anything other than put all of my energies and efforts and contacts and creativity into raising funds for breast cancer research. And I drive my family and my friends crazy every race season. They hear from me countless times. And I've long ago sort of set aside that feeling of I don't want to ask again. I'm going to ask 1,000 times because I think it's really important. Everyone knows someone impacted by breast cancer, or certainly cancer, and there are far less worthy things to ask for money for than something like cancer. Become a voracious advocate for yourself if you're diagnosed. Become a voracious advocate for your loved one if you're a co-survivor, or if a loved one is diagnosed with breast cancer. And become active. Become active in something. Heather was diagnosed, and she was told she needed to go in immediately and have a tram flap procedure, a mastectomy, and start her treatment, start very aggressive rounds of chemotherapy. And she said, I want to go to Washington, D.C. I want to postpone it for 2 weeks, against the doctor's recommendations, because she knew becoming active in that and participating in an event where there are other survivors. She was the youngest, but still other survivors, was important to getting her mentally prepared to fight. And it was important for us. It gave us an opportunity to do something. And becoming active no matter what. I'm an 8th grade teacher, and my students have long since known about my work in breast cancer fundraising. And one of the greatest things that I do is not necessarily pass along reading or writing skills, but it's passing along that spark to get passionate about something, whatever it is. Animal rights, some sort of cause, homelessness. And it always gets me excited to see one of them sort of catch on.